Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. I as always am Grestar and this is another reaction to a death battle, Goro versus Machamp. So of course make sure to click on the link in the description below to go to the official release first. Like, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Watch that there, then come back here and we'll watch it together. So yes, Goro from Mortal Kombat rather versus Machamp from Pokemon. And I gotta say, honestly, I think that Machamp is going to win. Now, this is not to downplay Mortal Kombat and the insane power that that universe possesses. However, Pokemon, like, the world of Pokemon is kind of just extreme all in its own right. Like, if you actually read the Pokédex entries, like, so even if you don't take any feats from the show into account, right? Even if you just ignore all of those, if you just take a look at the Pokédex entries, you get Pokemon that are like, yeah, they just move mountains for fun, and they, like, create black holes, and they, like, just all of this stuff, and it's like, what? You know? And so, do I personally know what Machamp itself is capable of doing? No, I do not. However, like, I dare say that Machamp is probably capable of some pretty crazy things, and this is also, like, that's not even paying attention to the fact that Machamp fights other Pokemon, like, on the daily, you know, and survives, right? So, it surely must be pretty powerful. I don't know anything about Goro, because I really don't know anything about Mortal Kombat. It's never a thing that I've played because, one, I've never really enjoyed fighting games, and two, I've never really been a fan of, like, gore and gruesome deaths. And so, like, the two big things of Mortal Kombat, neither of them appealed to me, you know, so I just never played it. But Pokemon I do know to an extent, so that's why I was talking a lot more about Machamp, if that wasn't clear. But because I don't really have anything more to say, like, I just expect great things from him, and I'm sure that Goro will have a lot of impressive feats himself, but I'm really looking forward to seeing what they pull out from Machamp, and I'll try to compare the two as best I can, obviously, as I do with every death battle. But yeah, with that said, let's get to watching. Anyway, oh, Rooster Teeth got a new thing. Okay. That was a strange introduction, because it's that sound effect leading into the death battle stuff.
I don't believe in different ways of fighting. We all have 2 arms and 2 legs, so that is why I believe there should be only one way of fighting.
That's really close-minded, Bruce Lee.
These 4-armed fighters with 4 forearms.
Goro, the half-dragon prince of Mortal Kombat.
And Machamp, the fighting-type Pokemon from the Kanto region.
That's right.
He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle.
Yeah, do it.
Mortal Kombat.
Okay, let's start with Goro, yeah.
A fighting tournament as killer as its iconic theme song. With a reputation like that, you better believe the first boss in the game would be a champion who's
he's a
won 9
boss?
times in a row.
Oh.
He won't just kick your ass, he'll rip your arms off too.
This is Goro, prince of the Shokan people and one of their strongest warriors.
Oh.
He's 8 feet 2 inches tall, weighs 550 pounds, and clocks in at 2,000 years old with no signs of slowing down.
2,000, wow. Good for him.
Run, but here are the highlights. He fought in a civil war, crushed some $500 sunglasses.
Why?
Oh yeah, he's a half-humanoid, half-dragon person.
Dragon?
Who would be stupid enough to fight a half-dragon with 4 arms?
Not many. Most of the Mortal Kombat roster refuses to fight Goro because they're terrified of losing to him and getting torn in two.
That seems reasonable.
After living for as long as he has, you better believe he's picked up some skills. He's got 500 years of experience in Mortal Kombat tournaments and has mastered a ton of different fighting styles.
He's obviously familiar with the Shokan style, which uses his extra appendages to lethal effect.
Right,
He's
that
also
makes
a
sense.
master of an adapted version of the Kuotan style, which is much more elaborate and relies on the strengths of a more traditional humanoid body.
Like kicks and stuff.
Right.
On top of that,
Okay.
Goro's got a ton of fun tricks up his 4 sleeves, like fireballs, dragon breath, high-flying stomps, quadruple grabs, and his favorite, crushing skulls. But if those don't work, he's got bladed weapons called dragon fangs.
Does
Like
he?
Shredder's claws, but there's 4 of them, 1 for each hand.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Are you okay, Boomstick?
Well, is it weird that Goro kind of reminds me of the guy that my ex-wife ran off with?
What, because he's so buff?
Yeah, but mostly the 4 arms. I mean, how am I supposed to keep up with that? He's got 2 more hands than me.
He has...
Huh. Sorry. Anyway, with all those
Okay,
titles,
sure.
it's pretty clear Goro
Why not
stands
have more
above
death
most
battle
of the
lore?
Mortal Kombat combatants with a K.
Right, of
Characters
course.
like Cabal, Johnny Cage, or even Kotal Khan. who once destroyed this ship, which is clearly inspired by Spanish conquistadors. Based on historical references to similar ships, the power needed to destroy one like this would require over 3 billion joules of energy.
We also saw Raiden destroy this temple with almost 270 tons of TNT, which is a lot.
That is,
On top of that, Cabal can move fast enough to parry machine gun fire. To pull that off, you'd have to be moving almost 3 times as fast as sound.
Goro's not the only.
So we're just saying that he
Shokan.
matches
The
all
Tiger
these,
Strike
basically?
Kintaro survived this massive explosion. Using the average height for a Shokan and comparing it to the blast radius, we can posit that this explosion yielded a force equivalent to over 25 tons of TNT.
Okay.
The Shokan are a tough people, that's for sure, and super proud. After a disappointing loss to the Shaolin monk Liu Kang, Goro was unable to secure a 10th MK title in a row.
Aw.
And while it seriously hurt his warrior pride, he didn't stop beating the shit out of people.
Not only did he eventually try to win that title again, but he also fought in multiple wars, including one with the similarly powerful Centurions.
But he never stayed in one place for too long, like when he pissed off Kodokan and got his arms ripped off.
Ooh.
But even without his primary
Buddy.
weapons at his side, Goro would not give up. He even managed to defeat the ninja Kenshi.
Without any freaking arms! God damn! Also, a limbless guy versus a blind guy? Throw Professor X in there and you have yourself the ultimate, and definitely most offensive, crippled threat match.
Aw.
Oh, what? I've got one leg!
With or without his many titles, Goro always has the make of a champion. His determination and will to fight is only matched by his strength, power, and, frankly, bloodlust. Even with his failures, he truly is the greatest of the Shokan.
I will give you a warning.
You see, those deaths don't do anything for me. Like, I just find them uncomfortable, if anything. I'm not like, oh, it's so cool how he
Superpowered
tore him in
Pokemon
half.
Machamp
No, it's
is
not
a
my
fighting
thing.
type that originated in the Kanto region. They begin their lives as the youthful Machamp,
Yep.
which train tirelessly to learn and eventually master every form of martial arts.
It's a lethal
See, I didn't even know
combo,
that.
Adorable and kick-ass.
All forms of
And
martial
they're
arts, interesting.
jacked.
The Machamp possesses muscles more dense than humans that allow them to train for long periods of time without fatigue. Eventually, the young Machamp will reach a new level, leaving behind the days of its youth and evolving into a Machoke.
The
Yay.
Machoke is strong enough to lift dump trucks with ease, and once he's moved on from the teenage days of angst and rebellion, Machoke evolves into the rock spirit Pokemon, Machamp.
There's a strange
This
bit of art.
four-armed fighter stands 5 feet tall and weighs an average of 280 pounds.
Even after realizing its final evolution, most Machamps continue to train and pursue peak levels of physical fitness.
When they're not firing off sets at the gym, they're most likely helping humans
She is
as
strong.
rovers, construction workers, and bodyguards. Or, they're just beating other Pokemon senseless
Yeah,
in the
yeah, yeah,
dogfighting
of course.
ring that is the Pokemon world.
Questionable pet and owner relationships aside, Machamp seems to simply enjoy helping people, whether in the Pokemon
Good for
arena
him.
or in the outside world.
And Machamps are well equipped for both. They have a ton of great moves like Bulk Up, which increases physical power, Knock Off, which can knock anything off of an opponent's hands, and Seismic Toss.
Which deals damage equal to their
Holy shit,
level.
Did he just launch that rat into orbit?
Fighting type Pokemon like Machamp make for fearsome predators against normal, ice, rock, and dark types. Even steel type Pokemon turn brittle under Machamp's brute strength. On the other end of the spectrum, Machamp can fall prey to agile flying Pokemon, cerebral psychic types, and mystical fairies.
None of which should apply to
Pokemon's
Goro.
fucking weird.
However,
yes.
the Machamp can always fall back on their natural abilities, the most common of which is named Guts. Whenever a Machamp is burned, poisoned, or paralyzed, its adrenaline spikes, increasing its physical power.
Including his physical moves, which is like all of them.
I don't think this would apply to
According
Guts
the
either,
Pokedex,
would it?
Machamp can punch 1,000 times in 2 seconds and can move mountains with one hand.
Now, the Pokedex isn't always the most reliable source.
So the
However, we
can
have
move
seen
mountains
proof
thing.
of
I mentioned
Machamp's
that.
1,000
I
punches
actually
in
didn't
Pokemon
realize that was
tournaments.
Machamp.
To do this in 2 seconds, Machamp must be punching at speeds faster than sound.
Damn, if having 2 extra arms is like shooting fish in a barrel, then this is like baking perfectly good cookie dough. It's like totally unnecessary.
In order to move a mountain, Machamp would need to exert anywhere from 8 to 30 kilotons of TNT. And pulling off their signature move, Seismic Toss, would require even more energy. Considering an average weight of 200 kilograms for any given Pokemon, and the speed at which they travel when thrown, a typical Machamp's throwing power would need to be equivalent to over 130 kilotons of TNT.
Okay.
Machamps can also take a lot of damage. They live and fight together after all.
As we can see, Machops and Machokes in particular are raised in herds of their own kind. It's natural that they would fight all the time.
Seen a bunch of
exhausting
big
insane
buff
amount of
dudes in
power on
Speedos just walking
And,
around in the
according
field.
to some people, they look great while doing it. There's even a fan club of people who find themselves unexplainably attracted to them. This is
Unexplainably?
Probably run by
Really?
my wife.
You can't explain
We
it?
didn't even make it halfway through the reception.
Sure you
Because
can.
My signature move is signing divorce papers.
Aw,
The
Boomstick.
Machamp is so strong, the species have become a favorite amongst gym leaders, such as Giovanni and B.
Makes sense. They can go head to head with a ton of crazy strong pocket monsters.
The Machamp is an extremely tough Pokemon that rounds out any roster. After all, they literally live to fight.
So abrupt, but we're over.
All
We're
right, the
done.
combatants are set.
It's
We've
over,
run the
rather.
data through all possibilities.
And now we gotta wait through another
First, we'll
commercial,
tell you
yeah.
about him's
I still think
and of
Machamp
course,
is going to
getting
win,
it through
for the
sheer
record.
willpower, but it's exhausting.
But I'll get into that after the
best way to
commercial.
prevent-
It's time for a death battle and pause. Okay, so just to talk about this, like I said, I still think Machamp is going to win. I thought he was at the very beginning, and frankly, I still think he is now. I mean, like, let's take Goro's feat of speed, right? That was relating to the one dude, like, deflecting all the bullets. Well, if Machamp can punch 1,000 times in 2 seconds, like, I think that Machamp is faster. I could always be wrong. I could be wrong about any of this, but that's my thinking. That, faster, yeah. And then, like, all of the feats of strength that I remember them giving Goro were like, oh, it's like 2,000 tons of TNTs where there, you know, it was like a lot of, some amount of tons of TNT, I don't know. But then you get to like Machamp's where it's like moving the mountain with one arm, right? It's like, oh, well, it would require this many like kilotons or whatever. And then there's like the seismic toss feat too. Well, like, let's go back to the moving a mountain thing. That's specified with one arm. So like, let's get the other 3 in there. So that's however many kilotons of TNT's worth of energy that was times 3 all of a sudden. Times 4 all of a sudden. You know what I mean? And so it seems like Machamp is faster, it seems like he's stronger, and it seems like he's more durable considering that he fights with other Pokemon, including Machamp. So he has, you know, if he's stronger than Goro, and he fights, not himself, but, you know, like others of his kind, then he can withstand that. So he can withstand something that's stronger than Goro. Like, that alone should... Anyway, Goro definitely has experience on his side. He has lived 2,000 years. 500 of those he has actively participated in Mortal Kombat tournaments, you know, going up against, like, the best of the best. And, you know, that's 500 years of just the tournaments, not to say the other 1,500 he wasn't, like, learning and training and other stuff like that. So he has more experience for sure. But Machamp, just due to him being a Pokemon and Pokemon being crazy, has mastered all forms of martial arts. Right? Do I think that Guts is going to come into play? I don't, because I don't see how, like, being... I mean, I guess, like, maybe paralysis if you want to go that kind of paralyzed route, you know, with Goro, like, breaking his spine or something. But I don't think that he's going to get those kinds of status ailments. So I don't think that Guts is going to come into play. But, you know, he does also, like, aside from just mastering all martial arts, so being able to defend against them and being able to deliver upon them himself, he has all of these different, you know, varied moves, like Bulk Up that can physically increase his damage, and then just a variety of different physical attacks in order to get at Goro. So, it seems to me that everything aside from experience is going in Machamp's favor, so I'm going to say that Machamp is going to win this one, and play. Like, just because Machamp doesn't tear people's arms off, doesn't mean he can't, you know? It just means that he's not a
You're no
douche.
Shokan. Be gone from my lair. Machamp! Disgusting.
Get him, Machamp.
A pathetic runt like you wastes our dragon blood.
Because he's 5 feet tall. Yeah, see, that comparison right there is not accurate, because Machamp was supposedly like 5 feet, and Goro was like 8 feet. But, that's fine. He has knockoff, so he could just get rid of those weapons. Yeah, there it is. Seismic toss, I guess. And a bear hug. Oh.
Face death like a warrior. Machamp!
Yeah, you tell him.
Saying that, you're no champ. I am the champion of Mortal Kombat.
Well, you used to be. Going into the Muda Muda. Ow! That was his face skull. Ow! Oh, fire, burn. I completely forgot he had anything to do with elements like fire. Ow. So mean! Yeah, Machamp playing dirty. Like that anime ending there. No, Machamp!
Oh, he forgot to say he's blasting off again. Do it over. We gotta get that joke right at least once.
This was certainly a unique battle to experience.
While Machamp's resilience came in handy, Goro's fighting styles continued to put Machamp to the test again and again. Plus, Goro's huge.
He is, he's big.
Tall, Goro towers a full 3 feet.
And he's like twice
over
as
the
heavy as
average
Machamp is.
Obviously, not including the Dynamax and Gigantamax forms.
Of course,
found
but those are
exclusively
dumb,
in the
so.
Galar region.
Also, while Machamp could punch at Mach 1 speeds, Goro could technically match Cabal, who would need to move at nearly Mach 3 to parry machine gun fire.
So as far as punching
Oh, so
speed
he was as
concerned,
fast or
it
faster?
looks like Goro actually had the advantage.
Oh wow!
Except it hardly mattered. Machamp's power output outdid Goro's and then some. Even scaling Goro to Kotal Khan's ship feat and comparing it to the seismic toss, Machamp is almost 170,000 times more powerful.
Yeah.
This karate duck man is on a whole other level. Plus, he had a ton of ways to counter everything Goro threw at him. Knockoff prevented Goro from using weapons, and Guts meant he could take Goro's fire breath and use it for himself.
I mean,
The
it would still
Dragon
hurt him, but
Fangs
yeah.
and Fire Breath hardly would make much of a difference considering how durable the Machamp species is. After all, their primary trait is learning how to fight, so they'd naturally be fighting each other quite frequently.
Ah, the majestic Machamp, roaming the fields of the Kanto region, gently seismic tossing each other into orbit.
Yeah.
Just imagine walking past that on your Sunday stroll.
You were right. The Pokemon world is wild.
This grabby match turned
It's like the
bloody
Machoke
brawl
chasing
was
him.
intense and made me realize that we're all strong and beautiful just the way we are. No matter
Boomstick?
how many arms you have or whose wife you stole.
Good for you. While Goro put up an excellent battle that would have made his people proud, he didn't have enough to overpower the superpower Pokemon.
Unfortunately, this foe was forced to forfeit his 4 fists. Fitting that his final fate would be so freaking gory.
The winner is...
That was nice alliteration. And then you got the gory at the end. Claps for Machamp.
Hey, thanks for watching this episode of Death Battle. If you want the battle music for yourself, you can get it by clicking the link down below. And if you want to watch,
There was a lot there at the end. The gory, the alliteration, the 4, the mentioning of 4 so many times. Who was that? Is that Cable?
One of us walks out.
Booster Gold? Okay, so quick thing. So like I never knew anything about Booster Gold, but then when I was in my undergrad, just like in I think it was 2020, early 2020. No? It was like late 2019, early 2020, in that area, you know? Because it was before any of the COVID stuff had actually like kicked off. I was working in the library of my university, and in order to like, you know, while I was doing kind of work in the background, you know, like resorting maps and books and everything like that, you know, I was listening to an audiobook of a DC thing. I don't remember what it was called at all, but it had Booster Gold in it, and that was the first I'd ever heard of him, and he was a fraud and all of this stuff. But so that's all it was. I wasn't really, I didn't have a bunch more. But that's just all I know of him, really. So that'll be interesting. And I really don't know Cable at all either. I've seen Deadpool 2, and that's basically the extent of it. So yeah. Okay, let's talk about this death battle then. So I'm glad that I was right as far as Machamp being the victor. I had underestimated Goro's speed by quite a bit. I thought the Machamp was faster, even taking into account the bullet deflecting speed, but apparently that was like 3 times as fast as Machamp, so whoops. Or I don't know, like Mach 1 versus Mach 3, I don't know if it's like a steady step or if it's like decibels where like each increase is huge. But either way, I was wrong on that. But I was right, the Machamp was more powerful and had means to like basically counter everything that Goro would have to throw at him. And I didn't recall any means of like Machamp using Guts. And so it was cool to see that he was able to do that. Obviously, would that happen in every possible scenario where like the two fought? Like, of course not. But like it was a nice demonstration of what would happen if Goro did use that kind of ability. And I don't think that Machamp was relying on Guts in order to win, because obviously that's not how they do death battle. You know, it's who would win in the majority of times. Like, you know, if they ran the battle 100 times, who would win the most? You know, and obviously in a terrain that didn't favor like one combatant over the other, that kind of thing. You know, it has to be like an even playing field. So I thought that this was really cool. And the animation too, I really enjoyed. The voice acting really helped bring the story to life as well. There did seem to be story enough, just as far, like they didn't set them down and say fight and they fought. But I liked Machamp's entry and like Goro quickly like hiding his trophies or whatever he was doing. And just that kind of thing. I liked to think that Machamp was there to protect humanity, you know, because they mentioned that Machamp likes to help humans however he can, you know, whether that's in a fight or outside of a fight. And so, you know, if he's hearing that this 4-armed dude is going around and hurting a bunch of people, I like to think the good guy Machamp was going to, you know, to set things right. so I appreciated that. And it was just cool to see the, you know, the fight, like the two characters in action, mostly Machamp, because, you know, I liked it. I think it would have been even more amusing if they'd made Machamp actually 5 feet tall in that fight, because again, he was almost as tall as Goro when he's supposed to be like 3 feet shorter. And so it would have been amusing to see him actually be physically shorter in this case. And granted, Pokemon can vary in size. You know, I think the Pokedex really just gives the average, and so maybe this was just a particularly tall Machamp. But yeah, either way, regardless of that, I thought it was really cool. I enjoyed seeing Machamp's different moves, even if I could only name a few of them, like Knock-Off, Seismic Toss, and Cross Chop, you know, just based upon like what I actually got to see here. I appreciated their explanation of things in the conclusion. You know, it cleared things up for me as far as like how the speed feats compared, how the strength feats compared, because even though I knew that, or I felt, because obviously I thought that the speed was in Machamp's favor too, and I was wrong. So I felt that Machamp was stronger, but I didn't know by how much, you know? So it was nice to see those side-by-side comparisons. I always enjoy seeing those and hearing them, you know, just clarify some things about this fight. Yeah, so those are my thoughts. Let me know what you all thought about this death battle in the comments below, whether you liked it, whether you disliked it, what you thought about this or that, etc., so on and so forth. And next time, we will be watching Cable versus Booster Gold, so I hope that you are looking forward to that. But yes, that means that this video is over, so with that, we're calling it here. Have a good one, everybody.